Good morning and welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and we're here to fight the child protection system and how not to have your children taken and how to hang on to your children. I'm a loving father, dad, husband. I've been married 32 years. I have 6 children. 3 are grown up, 3 are young, but those 3 young now, the last one just turned 18. So um, I have 2 groups of children. My case was CPS. Yes, I was involved in CPS, the Child Protection System. In California, it's called the CPS, Child Protection Services. I know in other states it's different. Other states have different. But I'm talking about the Child Protection System that is a branch of social services and is supposed to help protect our children from neglect, abuse, and reunification. When they break up the family, they're supposed to reunify the family. The best parents for our children is the biological mother and father. As studies have proven time and time again, they are the best parents. So here I'm trying to warmly welcome you to this podcast and help you get out of this nightmare that I was involved in. I've been fighting them now for 14 years. And 3 of those 14 years, they actively had trafficked my children into foster care. They had tried to alienate my children. And the bottom line is they're thieves. And why I know this is if you look at the social workers in Arizona, in the town called Prescott, Arizona, there are 8 social workers with over 25 years of social work experience. And they thought it'd be really cute if they go out and get pink t-shirts, and on the t-shirts on the front, they put professional child kidnappers, professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, do you know where your children are at? Do you know where your children are at? That was stenciled on both sides. They paraded around in the stores and the shopping areas of Prescott. They went into Walmart. I don't understand the thinking of these workers, but it's typical. These workers are the same anywhere I talk to anyone from any city, state, even the world. I have people that talk about CPS from other countries. But I want to welcome you all. This podcast, there are several ways that you can participate in this podcast. One of the first ways, and I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, I'm trying this out my headset. So if I take a phone call, you'll be able to hear me. Yarla Villa. So I lost custody of my son 3 years ago, and they put my past record when I was in foster care when I was younger, and they took parental rights away. You're so true, Yarla Villa. There are so many parents like you. There is one very nice lady from Richmond, Kentucky, who was in foster care 5 times growing up. She was molested and raped and abused by foster parents. And when she started having children, they saw her record and they took her children. You don't understand how evil CPS is. When they parade around in the pink t-shirts that they're professional child kidnappers. They were busted, of course, in Prescott, Arizona. This happened in 2022. Look it up on the internet, 2022. Department of Child Services is what their CPS is called in Arizona. And they were fired right away. And the director was fired. They left with one social worker to handle the needs of abused and neglected children. So I'm telling you, this is the attitude of social workers. They're not your friend. They try to be your friend, but they're very deceiving. They lie. They're not transparent. All they want is to make money off your children. It's an $80 billion business that CPS does throughout the country per year. They get $80 billion from the U.S. government to take care of our children. Well, I know in my case in Orange County, California, they're paid for my children $20,000 a month. And I had 3 of them that were stolen. That was $60,000 for one family. Think if they had 100 families. I know Orange County has more than 100 families in CPS his hands. That's over $1 million a month. There's no way it takes that kind of money to raise a child. And I know for a fact that my social worker, who didn't have a college degree, didn't have a license, had no classes in social work, didn't even know what the parenting classes or the program about. All she talked about was her bonuses that she got, her Gucci purse every week, her BMW car, her eyelashes, her eye makeup, her accessories, her clothes. That's all she talked about. That's all it meant to her. She was young, very naive, didn't have the experience as a parent with kids, had never taken any of the parenting classes or the program. So how could she assign those and not experience them herself? Now, Yara Villa, I don't know what city or state you're from. Oh, I'm in Salt Lake City. All right, welcome. Yara Villa is in Salt Lake City, Utah. And what can I do for you? I'm going to go over how you can interact in this podcast. One way is you can write comments like Yara is doing, and when you type in your comments about your, well, it stayed there, but then it disappeared. When you're typing in your comments of your CPS questions, please show your name, city, state, or country and be complete with your CPS case. It's hard to play ping pong ball in here if you say very little and then I have to ask you a question and it's back in your court and we go back and forth. So if you have 4 children with 4 separate spouses, then you need to tell me all that. Also, you need to start from the beginning. And if you're a grandparent, identify yourself as a grandparent, which is nothing wrong. I really appreciate grandparents calling in about their daughter or their son having the CPS problems. But be complete as you can. Be complete as you can. Luckily, the temperature where I'm at, and I have a little bit of the ocean breeze, is about 77. I have no air conditioning, and the sun is on me very hot. I feel like 90 degrees, so I'm cooking. So anyway, the reason why I can't do this at a special place is I'm in line to get some paperwork to keep my car legal. There's so many loopholes you have to go through in our government system. It's really bad, and you all know that. So please text your comments about your CPS questions. Please show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Now, countries I've received input from have been um, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana from South America, that's above Brazil, uh, east of Venezuela on the coast, or Ghana. And then I've had Mexico, Mozambique, and I've had Mozambique is on east side of Africa, above South Africa, below Somalia, and across from Madagascar. So that's where Mozambique is. I've also had Denmark in Europe call, and then Liberia in West Africa. Liberia is called. A guy named Archie, who is a scout leader there, wants to really help protect the children and wants to learn from what I talk about. And he's been on many times. There was Rwanda and East Africa that called in a couple days ago, Rwanda, and they have a bad case of trafficking with their children. And then yesterday or the day before, I had a call from Sweden. And so it's kind of nice because I got European countries, Denmark, United Kingdom and Sweden identified. Got a couple of South African countries and a couple of South America countries. And of course, that lone place out there in Australia, and then above our borders with Canada and Mexico below there. So it's a good representative. The show is found on Facebook, How to Fight CPS. I broadcast it on YouTube, and I have um, a broadcast on YouTube. I use a SteamYard application. So a first way to interact with this podcast is to do text messages, which we've already have first person from Salt Lake City, Yarla Villa, talking. She has a third message now, and I'll read it to you. So now my husband is working with his lawyer to get our son back because he never got his parental rights taken away, and me and my husband are 15 years apart, so I get pregnant when I was 15. Okay, well, that's all right. My wife and I are 15 years apart. There's nothing wrong with 15 years apart. I'm just glad you got a husband that wants to help take care of your children. It's so many fathers out there that I don't want to say it, but they're deadbeat dads. They have a child, they impregnate the girl, then they leave. And the poor girl's stuck raising that child without the biological father and no support from the father. So I'm glad you got a husband, and that I'm glad you got an attorney. That's one of my number one rule is you need to get a family dependency attorney to fight CPS, the child protection system, in dependency court. They should never have taken away your rights. My question to you, Yarla Villa, did you ever do an appeal when they took away your parental rights? Did you do an appeal? Now, a second way to talk to me is to call me on my phone. My phone number is 626 698 0990. And you can reach me on that 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning and again at 7 o'clock at night. Those are Pacific Standard Time. They're 1 hour shows. And the only time I deviate that is on Sunday. I come on early at 8 o'clock in the morning instead of 10. And that's because I can be with my son in church. So I'm still trying to get my family from the mess that CPS did to me. They destroyed my family. They took my kids that weren't in imminent danger. They charged me with neglect because I was sorting my parents' belongings that had died, and I'm trying to send it to the relatives. And of course, in 2010, at the age of 60, I lost my job through no fault of my own. It's just that the state of California was going bankrupt, and they found a windfall of money, which I had $53 million worth of construction contracts to do with them. And they illegally borrowed that money and write me an IOU, and I tried to get my lenders to give me a credit line, and they wouldn't. So I had to stop those jobs, and I was so sad when I lost. I had to no longer work. I can no longer be a general contractor. So I'm struggling to find the work, but I was taken advantage by my in-laws. There's two ways that people report: lay people and professionals. And what happened, my in-laws were reporting that things that weren't true because they wanted to stake our children. They wanted to steal our children. Ever since I married my wife at the beginning, the in-laws have not supported us. They didn't show up at the wedding. They said negative things. They tried to take our children on numerous occasions. So that's the sad part about allegations. Professional people usually are truthful when they make an allegation, or they're mistaken. It's no big deal. It's corrected. But lay people are bad. If they don't like their spouse and they want their children, they'll say negative things to their spouse, but then that backfires because the agency will step in and take away the children from both of them. If they don't like the neighbor's dog barking, they will sit there and tell CPS that a neighbor is doing something with their children. They may not even have children. That's how retaliate they are. or they don't like the way your garden or your trees are overgrown in their yard or not overgrown, whatever it is. Lay people are really using CPS 99% of the time for their own needs. It is because the children are in danger of neglect or abuse. And it's sad because that's what's happened. Some of you may have experienced that. So I'm sorry. But anyway, my phone number is up at 626-698-0990. That's my office number. I will take calls. Now, I also have if you want to be a guest on our show, all you need to do is contact our show producer. Her name is Grace. She does a wonderful job being a show producer and helps me out a lot. And she'll help you come and be our guest on our show. All you have to do is write an email to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And she will put you on one of the 14 shows that you pick. You either say, I want to be on Bob's evening Sunday show. I want to be on Bob's Wednesday morning show. I want to be Bob's Tuesday evening show. So that's all you have to say. And then she will email you with the link to get on the StreamYard and how to do it and how to talk on the show. And you can be a guest and talk right with me. Now, that is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now, I'm going to leave my phone number up so that someone can call me. So we had some more comments here. Hey, Archie. Archie's from Liberia. And thanks for the show. You're always teaching and coaching and our mom and dad and our children protection issues. Thank you for the blessing, Archie. Archie is from the country of Liberia on the west coast of Africa, and he's been a regular on my show. Now, Yara Villa from Salt Lake City says, I did an appeal, but they didn't accept my appeal. Did you use the attorney to do appeal, Yara? And if you want to call in, Yara, you can at 626-698-0990. I'm here to help you as best as I can. Now, one of the first rules I want to talk about, I have 4 rules. Real quickly, rule 1 is get an attorney. Rule 2 is to organize your paperwork. Rule 3 is to say no to social workers, not let them in your home and not let them take your children. Rule 4 is learn everything you can about the CPS, the Child Protection System in your area. You'll find everything varies. Like in Richmond, Kentucky, social workers are required to have a college degree in social work and to have a license, to take exam and be licensed. So in Richmond, Kentucky, they're on the 8 ball there, but they are bad. And Faye, who could be on right now, would tell you so. Faye would tell you so. So I welcome my guest. My phone number is open. And I'd like to go back to rule number 1. Rule number 1 is you need an attorney, and we have an attorney. His law firm, Vincent W. Davis and Associates, sponsors this podcast. I want to thank Mr. Davis for allowing me to have this podcast to help other people. He wants to help other people. He does podcasts himself. He is a very experienced professional family dependency attorney. He has over 35 years of experience of fighting CPS. He has fought them not only getting your children back in a dependency court, he's also sued them and done civil lawsuits for breaking your constitutional rights and your civil rights. And he's done that both in the federal court and the state court. He has won millions of dollars against CPS. He is a trial attorney, and he'll go anywhere as the case is. He has a retainer, but locally he's in Southern California, but he'll go Northern California. He'll go any of the states. You just have to cover the airfare, which is the transportation, the ground transportation, and the accommodations. And then the cost of your case is determine how long the case been going on and uh, how complex the case is. But he'd be more than fair with you. But right now, he's offering a consultation with him for 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes. You can talk to him for only $60. That's $60 for 30 minutes. That's $2 a minute. It'd be well worth you, whether you want to hire him or not, to talk to him because you need an attorney. If you know what open heart surgery is, it requires a doctor. You yourself cannot open your heart. Your friend, your neighbors can't open your heart. Auto mechanic can't do heart surgery, and neither can a plumber. So I'm telling you, you need a professional. Uh, Being in CPS is like open heart surgery. Open heart surgery, you're going to get a doctor that's gone to school, studied to be a doctor, has done an internship, and then has mentored another doctor before he feels that he's ready to do his work. He's a license, so they have to renew their license. So, he's a professional. That's what you need here in CPS. I've already told you about the pink ladies. If that doesn't alarm you enough, I'll tell you about another lady in Chicago, Illinois. She very proudly on her Facebook a couple weeks ago put an ad from 1848 during the Civil War, not during the Civil War, before the Civil War, and it said black children for sale. Now that is gross. We do not sell children, but that is her thinking. That's what CPS and social workers are. They're professional child kidnappers. They've already advertised it. And that's how typically they are. I've only had one social worker on the show. Her name was Carol from Maryland. And I really appreciate her taking the time to talk about what she thought about CPS. But she painted a different picture than what the reality is. So, with that being said, I'm so sorry that you're going through this mess with them because you're just like Alice in Wonderland. You go into the rabbit hole in your garden and you stumble into rooms that go nowhere, doors that don't make any sense, things like off with your head and stupid remarks at CPS. They are so evil and so bad. They hurt me as a father. They hurt my wife. They destroyed our family. We had a beautiful family, a beautiful home. I worked 40 years for my home. I had to sell it to get an attorney. That's how come I hired Mr. Davis. But I waited too late. I regret that because I lost one of my three children. I lost my daughter, who at 12 had the social worker do revenge on us parents because she lied in court, and we caught her lying in court. And she said, "You'll never see your daughter." And so she told her daughter, who's 12 at the time, that you divorce your parents, that you change your name, that you seal your birth certificate, and you get adopted into a foster care family. She followed suit at age 12 and did that. And the social worker was very vindictive about that. I do not forget that, how hurtful that is for what she did. I could file a lawsuit for her lying in court and for her taking revenge on my daughter, but I don't have the money. I used all my money to get my kids back. I'm sorry to say, I'm still struggling trying to find a full-time job. So I have lots of experience, and I'm a hard worker, and I don't think I'm look old. I don't act old. I don't feel old. But yes, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a fighting dinosaur trying to stay alive in this world that's so bad. I feel like I'm going to go into extinction if I fight much longer. Because as you know, all the good dinosaurs were extinct. And I'm one of those dinosaurs that's slowly being extinct, and I don't want to. I want to live and take care of my family. I'm a family man. My three older kids are doing quite well in life. My two boys are okay. One boy has really struggled. He stopped his last year of college and wanted to move back home. He was so down in the dumps that social worker had messed him up. So bad. He got messed up on a lot of different scenarios. So I know what you all are going through. I know what you all are going through. We have a reoccurring guest here called Rose Marie Lombardo. Welcome, Rose Marie. You've been here before. Only thing is, I forget what city and state you are, if you could tell me. She says I have moved to unsupervised visits with my daughter. And at our last court date, the judge said it's in the best interest of the child to return to you. Oh, that brings back such warm heartaches, Rosemary, because you've been on here many times before fighting for your children. So there's good news, and I hope what I say to you is helping you. I hope it is. Our two sons have already been returned. Congratulations, Rosemary. What city and state are you? I forgot what you are. But, thank God that it's a success story. I'm so glad you text in about that. Now, for some of you that are listening to me, my power is suddenly going fast. I don't know. Usually I have an hour on my computer, but I'm at the quarter mark. So if I happen to drop off, it is because I ignore you. But I'll be on again at 7 o'clock tonight Pacific Standard Time. It's right now about 10:31, about 29 minutes left of my show, and hopefully there's enough power to keep me going here because I really wanted to go over and help you guys. I really care about you. Yarla, you need to get your kids back. It can happen. Don't give up. Archie, keep listening. I hope I can share some things with you there. And by the way, Yara's in Salt Lake City. Archie is in Liberia. And Rosemary, who's getting her kids returned. I don't know what city you're in. But please call Mr. Davis at 888-888-6582. Ask for a 30-minute consultation. Talk to him. That's well worth the $60. And if you want, you can also text to on the internet, candidly.com. That's CANDLY.com / law office of VWD / Bob Pace. That'll take you to his appointment schedule. So you need to do that. So make sure you get yourself an attorney who can help you navigate. And I'm not talking about a court-appointed attorney. They're a waste of time. Rule number 2 is have a notebook, a 6-inch thick notebook with 3 rings. And what you're going to do there is you're organizing all your paperwork. You'll get documents all the time that you can hole punch. You need to get as much college rule notebook paper as you can put in it. And then you need subject tabs, and you can divide your subjects. One subject is incidents. Anything that's happened about your case, whether it involves the police or somebody else or the CPS, you list the incidents. All you do is put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved in the first line. The next line, you describe the incident, and the third line, you do the outcome. If the outcome's not ready, leave a space, come back later. Then skip a couple lines and do your next incident and next incident. You want to do that. Other subjects may be info, which is a list of all your places you found that you've been studying, and you have the names, my names, phone numbers, websites, and stuff. You do that. Also, you want to put your parenting classes. You want to make a log of them so you can show them the parenting classes you took, the date and the time, and then behind it stick your completion certificates. Same thing goes with program management. But use the subject to make it organized. Another one is your court papers. You hole punch them, put them in there. So your notebook will be organized. You'll need it 6 months or a year or 2 years to explain to your attorney or to work in the court. So that's rule 2. Rule 3 is that you say no to social workers. You do not allow them in your home. You don't allow them to take your children. If you are talking to them outside, you can sit there and say yes, no answers. And if it gets uncomfortable, say, excuse me, I need to talk to my attorney. I'll get back to you. Get their name and get their business card. If they don't have a card, look at their ID tag and you can see it. The policemen have a badge number, so get that down. They will lie, so you need that information. So it's always no, yes, no, short answers. You don't have to talk to a social worker. You don't have to let them in your home. If there is imminent danger taking place, like there is fighting, domestic violence, shooting, knifing, if the child's in danger, they can come in. Otherwise, they need what's called a warrant. It's a court document that says what they can do. They should have your name on it. They should have the children's name on it, the allegations, the date and time they can do what they're supposed to do, and a description of what they're doing. They're picking up the children, they're interviewing you, they're searching the home. You don't want them to look at your home. It's your castle. Never let them look at your home. And then there's another part of this equation called medical trafficking. And that's where you take your child to the hospital late at night because they're not doing too well. Be careful. They sometimes have social workers working there, and then these social workers will take your children. Don't let them. Tell them they're your children. They have to have a court order. Also, if you're having a child there and you tested positive, doesn't mean they have to take away your child. You have to hang on to your child. Tell them to wait out in the lobby. Get yourself an attorney to talk about what to do. So I'm really sorry that you are going through this miserable experience. Now, rule 4 is try to learn as much as you can about where the CPS is in your neighborhood, what they require, how to make complaints, at the state level, at the county level, and you want to learn. You want to be, the internet's full of knowledge, and you need to get that knowledge. Now, it shows that my power is slowly going out, so I'm still hanging in there. But I've covered the 4 rules. I've had several of you do comments. I still don't know where you're from, Rosemary Lombardo. I like to know the city and state. So my phone number is still up there, 626-698-0990. Vincent's number is still there, 888-888-6582. You can call into him and you can schedule a consultation. He does not bite. He's very warm, and he's like a teddy bear, okay? Anyway, he's a fighter. In court, he's a different thing. He is a fighter. So he's in Southern California, and he will help you. He cares about you. He gives so much help to people around the country. He wants to help you. And, it's hard. You're in a system that is corrupt, and there's no accountability. So that's what you're facing. It's wrong, but that's what you're facing. So I feel for you. You need to keep fighting. You don't want to stop fighting. My batteries say running low, so eventually it's going to go off. I'll keep talking until my computer shuts off. I want to thank you all for listening. I'll be again on at 7 o'clock. I don't know how much my power goes, but God bless you all. I care about you, and thank you, Rosemary, for the good news. Thank you, Archie, for talking. Thank you, Yorvilla. We will get your children back. So I want to thank all the listeners, all the emojis, and everything else. And we'll see how long this will last here. It's right now. It's 20 minutes left of my show, and I'm not sure how long it will last. But I want to talk about things like ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, for all you Native American, the first immigrants to come to North America. This is directed to all the Indian children south of Canada, north of Mexico. In the United States, there's 547 federal recognized tribes. If at all you have any kind of Indian blood in you or your children, you have the right to be registered by the tribe, or if you're already registered by the tribe, that makes it easier. CPS must notify the tribes you say you're in, and they must try to see if you're registered or could be registered. Reason being, they're required by law because in 1978 they enacted the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, that says all Indian children must be turned over to the tribe, the Indian tribe. They in turn turn them over to Indian families who will help take them back and do unification. CPS does not unification. CPS, all they do is adopt kids into foster care. And from 1875, 100 years forward, they've been doing that with the Indian children. They weren't given any unification. And so the parents of Indian children were taken advantage of. Congress woke up in 1978 and pass that law. Long overdue, long overdue. But the ICWA,